But Sifuna, should these promises have been more realistic? Because it was pegged at 100 days. Kenyans were expecting that. Now it has been pegged at 1 year. Who is to guarantee that even that 1 year they won't kick the can down the road again? Should the promises have been more realistic?
I don't think you can ask for realistic promises from people who don't have a history of making realistic promises or even keeping the ones that are unrealistic that they make. We warned people during the campaign that, in fact, a leopard does not change its spots, that if somebody has the history of selling you lies, about 6 stadia in 6 weeks, or we are going for 9 to make it better, or other things, if somebody has a history of telling you lies, unless they meet Jesus on the way to, where was that guy going? You knew
the Bible.
That's what I'm asking. It can also escape me. Yeah, unless you meet Jesus on the way to Damascus, yes, and then you become a new being.
Yes.
Trevor, we are discussing an extremely critical matter. Do you know it takes a human being who has gone without food and water 3 weeks, you are dead. If you have water, maybe you can sustain yourself for another 2 months if you are made of Stana stuff, like the people from Western Kenya. You can last 2 months. Mr. Cherargei is Senator Cherargei. When he talks about painkillers, the hypocrisy in this country it stings to high heavens. Mr. Cherargei here cannot go to a dentist to have his tooth removed without crying for anesthesia. If he does that, he can tell us here. This short term that you're talking about, if you have promised us that in 3 months' time, yes, we will have cheap unga, what is so difficult with the government retaining that anesthesia that was there for the people to be able to afford food for 3 months? I asked you this question on the floor of the Senate, and you said, oh, Sifuna, you are not a maize farmer because you are a senator in the city, you don't know how long it takes to produce food. You told us that in 3 months, in fact, you told us you are starting harvesting maize this month, and that it should go down. So why is the president talking about 1 year for the price of unga to come down? Because you people are taking us round in circles. You don't know what you're doing. This fuel subsidy that you're saying, was benefiting 5 companies. It wasn't benefiting 5 companies. I know for a fact that I was not buying fuel at 170 shillings because there was a subsidy. And fuel prices affect everything. Cherargei, please tell us, if you are sure, is it you we should believe, or the president when they say that you are telling us that the price of maize should come down? Is it next week that you are harvesting your crop? Can Nairobians come to your farm and buy unga cheaper? Where are we supposed to go to find this cheap unga? And after how long? You told us that you're talking about these fuel subsidies. It is at the highest ever level, fuel, right now. And Trevor, fuel has a knock-on effect. It affects everything. You saw the electricity bills being adjusted upwards because of the fuel cost charge that is embedded in the price of electricity. You told us during the campaign that kazi ni kazi. I was being called by hustlers in Nairobi after the pronouncement by the president that kazi mtaani is no longer kazi. That now this is a kazi that is outdated. What happened to kazi ni kazi? These hustlers that you're talking about in Nairobi, Trevor, a majority of the people here just wake up every day to go and look for kibarua, to be able to earn that 500 shillings that then you come back and 230 is going to a packet of unga. Already, you have not paid electricity, you have not paid your rent, you have not paid for water. When you take away that 500 shillings and you promise them that, you are going to be involved in this grand scheme to build houses. It is okay for us to build houses. We don't have a problem with low-cost housing. But that is the long-term story that you're talking about. In the hierarchy of needs, if I remember my basic education, first you start with the food. You're not going to put me on the 6th floor with an elevator, a nice running toilet, but I am hungry, I'm dying in the house. Please, what we expected is that the government would front load the most urgent issue. If we have a drought that is the most severe drought in 40 years, we need to see cogent and concrete plans to be able to sort out this problem of how we are going to get food sustainable. That can be a long-term plan. But Wamatangi, really, even if we take President Ruto's time frame of 1 year, why is it so difficult to retain that subsidy so that in the short term, just like Cherargei needs his anesthesia to have his tooth removed, please, can we continue to have that low cost of food? I remember very well when President Uhuru Kenyatta spoke about the effects on the Kenyan economy of global happenings. They said, this war in Ukraine is just an excuse. And now it is Cherargei coming to tell us that, oh, we do not live in an island, that Kenya is also affected by the global bumps. This is the knowledge that you people were rejecting then. How have you become now the biggest preachers of the same gospel, Cherargei? So what we want to see, we need medium-term interventions to ensure that Kenyans can at least afford a meal. Can you please, as I wait for you to build my low-cost house, can I be alive to see it? Because if I don't get food in 2 or 3 months, I am done. Your project for housing is going to take how many months? You are saying that you will employ all the young people in Nairobi in one construction project that is going to do what? Do they have the necessary skills to do that? Whereas Kazi Mtaani utilized your very basic skills to clean your own environment, to be able to do, to open drainages. You are going to tell somebody who doesn't have maybe the technical skill to lay tiles to be the one to do the job, or to weld windows. Surely, Trevor. So what we want is to see some level of seriousness in the approach in this government in terms of what is priority and what is not priority. Lastly, we are being asked to keep quiet. We can't keep quiet, Cherargei. This is our job. The president, when he came to parliament, said he expects a robust opposition to keep him in check. And an election is a contest of ideas. So it was the ideas that we were putting in place that you guys rubbished, and your ideas that you put in, you're proposing, that we raised serious doubt about. This question of bottom up. Those of us who didn't understand the theory of bottom up are still waiting to see the practicals. Maybe we will understand. But we don't see it. You are actually, the burden that you are putting on the lowest income earners in this country, the most vulnerable, is heavier than those of us who are at the so-called top. Cherargei, for you really, it doesn't matter how far or how high the cost of unga goes, because you are able to afford. You are in leadership in parliament. You are in all the good committees. We put you as the vice chair of PAC. You are earning all these allowances, but you are taking away the hustler who was earning 500 shillings at the Kazi Mtaani, and then telling him to wait for these grand jobs that are coming. Are you going to make him the senator for Nandi? So we don't see a plan. Once you won the election, once you have been elected, Cherargei, it means that Kenyans chose your ideas over our ideas. How long will you spend telling us that we are the ones who caused the mess? Kenyans, or maybe so that we, and I don't know what we means because I was not part of government, the outgoing government, because I know that William Ruto was part of that government. And even the question of price of unga was a problem even in 2017, Trevor. So you are the people with the instruments of power. Can you please sort this mess out? As you find your way around government, please give us the anesthesia. Give us the painkillers as the people down there, the hustlers that you talk about, for us to be able to survive, to see you with your grand dreams of having this so-called sustainability.
All right, there's a lot of